going to talk about cultural adaptation. I am mostly going to talk about how I personally got to adapt to US culture, how I went through the culture shock. It's going to be a lot of stuff that at first you come to America and you're like, wow. And then you end up experiencing reverse culture shock. I'm going to talk about it. So, just like a rough outline, I'm going to talk first about culture shock, then about diversity. America, as we all know, is very diverse. And growing up in a community where I did not face a lot of diversity, coming to America, you need to actually be able to know how to interact with different people. I'll talk about mental health. This is something that honestly is not talked about much in Armenia, so I would want to address that. Academics, Title IX. Title IX is the sexual misconduct office in every school, and adapting in the States. So let's talk about culture shock. I am very proud of this list. So these were some things that me and my friends went through, and it goes from like the simplest thing to a very hard, big difference. The simplest thing, drinking ice water even during winter. In Armenia, if you go to a restaurant and you ask for water, you do not have to specify that I don't need ice. Here, you go and you ask for water, even if it's in the middle of winter, they will bring you more ice than actual water. So that's something that I had to adapt for like 6 months. Coins do not have numbers on them. Like, I still don't know how coins work, so I just use my debit card. So be careful with this. Small talk. This is not a thing in Armenia, but when you just like walk around campus and people just come to you and they're like, how you doing? The weather is nice, right? The small talk that it's a very American thing. And when you just like cross the street and someone's like, what's up? Do not answer. Just smile and be like, what's up? It's not a question. They do not expect answers. I had to answer for like 5 months, like what's up in my life. And then I realized they do not expect answer from you. Smiling at strangers. You just walk around the town and you actually smile at them. In Armenia, when you walk around, you just like look at them up and down. And if you smile at them, they'll be like, are you flirting with me? So it's not a thing here. You just actually smile at strangers. Academics. Academics is depending on what school you graduated in Armenia, the educational system is very different. So you need to actually research your university and how it all works before coming here. And I would suggest talking to some students that are already on campus or that are already students of the college so that you will know the minor details. Individualism. I'll not be this detailed for every single one of them because I am going to talk about this, but these are something that I was not going to address later on. So individualism, here people are more concentrated on what's going on in their own life, while in Armenia everything is more like as a community. Here everyone just cares on what's going on in their life. And what I love about this is actually they literally do not care what you are doing in a good way, in a sense that like if you wear something that in Armenia you would be judged for, here they just don't care. Literally, they don't care. So do whatever you want. Thrifting. This is a huge part of an American college culture. Thrifting is the same as secondhand clothes. At first, when I came here and they were like, oh, do you want to go to Goodwill, which is the secondhand store in America? I was like, whoa, you buy secondhand clothes? And later I realized that it's more environmentally friendly and these all minor stuff that you need to adapt yourself. And as in Armenia, it's considered like a bad thing that you do not go to thrifting. Here, it's a huge thing. And food, instant meals. You're gonna have so much ramen. In Armenia, it's the same as doshirak. Like you just like pour hot water and you eat it. And in Armenia, they're like, oh, we can cook. Here, you cannot cook. Believe me, you do not have time to cook. So either just use your meal plan or eat instant meals, which is not healthy at all. Again, this is not a lecture, as Ara mentioned. So anyone who has comments, just add your comments, or if you have questions, just interrupt me or put in the chat box. Anything to add? Yeah, no? Okay. Bigger differences. Hard to navigate without a car. In my city, at least, there is no public transportation. So if you do not have a car, you will have a hard time even getting groceries. We have a shuttle that runs every Saturday, but it's a very, like, it depends on the college if they give you the opportunity to do so. So do not hesitate to ask your friends to take you somewhere, because they do understand that you did not drive here, so you do not have a car. Well, using public transportations is very complicated. Well, I was not used to American public transportation, so when I went to Washington, D.C. to actually visit Shoshana, we went to a subway, and I did not know what to do there, because in Armenia there is only one train. In DC there was like 5, and I did not know what to do with that. So I would suggest going there with someone at first, and like to understand what's going on, and then try to figure it out. Party dating culture. There are parties every Saturday, every Friday, and you need to, like, you do not, my mind was exploded when I went there at first. I was like, wow, it's not a thing here. You just go out every Saturday and just like dance with everyone. And dating culture is also very different than from Armenia. So this is something that you need to figure out on your own. Diversity, this is something I'm going to cover later on. I'm going to talk about consciousness about wording. You actually need to filter whatever you're saying before saying that, because you might offend someone with your words without having the intention. Being a minority. In Armenia, we are mostly the majority. So we are actually like Armenians, and we have the same religion, we have the same culture. Here, you as an international student, you're going to be a minority, so you need to adapt to be a minority and to be able to share your culture while adapting to another culture. This is something that, again, I'm going to cover later on, but this is a huge thing that you need to think about. Plagiarism, citations, I don't think I need to add anything of that. Yeah, and I was pretty good at talking about this. And taxes, tips, subscriptions. Tips, you actually need to tip. It's not like, oh, if you want to tip, here you do tip, like 20%, you just do that. And subscriptions, back home, we just use illegal websites, which I did not realize that it was a bad thing until I came here, but no one actually pays to listen to music. Like, it was ridiculous. When I came here, now I actually pay for subscriptions because you just cannot use illegal sites. So be ready to pay for movies you want to watch or for the songs you want to listen to. And yeah, you're going to spend a lot of money on this. And there are student discounts. Just putting it out there, you need to like look through it. Every student gets at least like 50% discount, so look through that. If anyone has anything to add, ask, feel free.
I was gonna just add a little bit on the transportation part. I think it really depends on the place you are gonna be in. If it's a suburbs, I agree with Anahit, you need to have a car. If you know how to drive, it should be easier for you to get a license. But for me, my college is in San Francisco. It's a big city, and majority of people use public transport there, and public transport there is super easy. And if you are going to be in a city and the city has a public transport, check with the city's government website, because as a student, I got a free transport card and I could just use buses and trains and whatever public transport is available for free without even paying, because just one ride costs like $3, which is quite expensive for a student. So yeah, if it's a big city, it has public transport, my recommendation is to check with the government sites.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Comments, questions? Okay. So how does culture shock work? You go through the honeymoon phase where you're like, whoa, everything is new, it's so fun. Like, I did not expect everything to be this fun. Then you go to actually culture shock, when you're like, I do not understand why people do this. You're like, I want to get out of here. I don't understand why people think this way. We all went through this. Then you actually like adapt to that, you go to the phase of transition where when you're actually like trying to understand what's going on, trying to adapt, trying to help others learn about your culture, and you just like have that culture exchange, and you actually go through acceptance. Right now, after that, you go through reverse culture shock when you're like, okay, why does Armenia do something like this? Like, how can I change it? Do I want to change it? Now I'm going through the reverse culture shock. When I'm talking to like my friends or relatives back home, I'm like, why did we used to think like this? Like, and do I want to change their way of thinking? And like, I try to debate on a lot of stuff, and my friends are like, why are you always arguing whenever you're calling us? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to help you. They're like, we do not need like to change our mindset. So you are gonna argue about a lot of stuff when you actually accept the American culture. And this all comes with being in a diverse environment, talking to a lot of students from different countries, from different backgrounds. So this is natural, and you are gonna go through this.
And how long did it take you to go through these stages?
I'm still going through them. The first, like the big culture shock that I was like, okay, I want to get out of here, was until maybe January, when I actually came back home for the winter break, and I remembered how it was like to be in Armenia. I was like, okay, I don't want to go back because this is home. And right now I'm more in a phase that like, I understand what's going on, I agree with what's going on, and it's more like the reverse culture shock, like why I used to think like this. It's that type of questions that are going through your mind.
Okay.
So the diversity and inclusion. This probably is the most diverse place you have ever been. In Armenia, we do not have a big diversity. We are a more homogeneous country. So the people you interact with are mostly Armenians if you're not in an international school. So be open for culture exchange. This is something that you need to think about before coming here. So be open to share your culture and be open to adapt to other cultures. You did not come here to just learn about American culture. Of course, it's the biggest culture that you're going to learn because you are immersing in this culture, but you're going to have people from different countries, and you would want to learn about their experience. Be careful with the wording. I'm going to talk about this in a separate slide, but at first when I came here, I would be called out a lot. Oh, like you can't say this, oh, you can't say that. And I did not know that I couldn't say that because no one told me about it. And in Armenia, we do use words like that without actually realizing it. So here, when you come and you actually like understand what you're saying, you're like, whoa, I'm so sorry. You will go through that phase as well. Wait, sorry. Wait, go back. Yeah. Do your research on history of racism before arriving to campus. This is a huge part this is something that you are gonna think about when you come here. Personally, I knew about racism, but I did not know about the history and what's going on right now. For me, I thought, oh, racism existed, but right now it's getting better. But believe me, it's not getting better at all. Like, if it's not getting worse, it's not getting better. So you need to understand, you need to learn about what's going on, and talking to students who are in America or just like simple Google search will help you a lot. Especially right now with Black Lives Matter movement, you would want to know about what's going on because it's going on right now, and like we all are a part of it. Personally, I went to the protest, I was a part of it, and I couldn't do that before actually learning what's going on, because people are like, oh, what's going on there? Why are they just like rioting and like just breaking some stuff? And you don't know without actually researching on why is that going on, or is it the way you actually think it is. Educate yourself on LGBTQ plus community and history. In Armenia, we have a lot of stereotypes, a lot of homophobic thoughts about this, and this is something, college is not a place for your homophobia. You need to learn how to accept people the way that they are, and you are gonna be surrounded with a lot of people with different backgrounds. So be ready to communicate and be open for communication. And again, just forget about the Armenian stereotypes about LGBTQ community or about anything, and do not make assumptions. If you see someone, for example, a simple example that might go through your mind, you see a boy which does not have your idea of masculinity, your first thought might be, oh, maybe he's gay. That's not how it works. Like, forget about the idea of toxic masculinity. This is something I am going to address. And do not make assumptions just like by looking at someone. And if you see someone, do not think, oh, maybe this person is from China, for example. If you see someone with Asian features, you actually need to talk to them and ask them before assuming where they're coming from. And I'm sorry, I did not know it's so hard to follow up with chat. Let me think. Let me see what's going on. I have to spend each of my semester in a new country. Oh, oof, right. I'm so sorry. Uncomfortable. Yes. There are a lot of Netflix and YouTube shows you would want to watch. And if someone is interested, I can give you some list about the racism history for movies, because I am participating in this project when we are watching a movie every week and talking about it with our history professors. So I could provide that list too.
I can share also, because we have some materials and some stuff. Just let me know if you are interested. We, me together with my previous CCC students, we can provide gather and provide a lot of information if you need. Otherwise, you can just make your own research and try to figure out what is important and what you know and what you would to learn. So for this.
Does anyone have any questions, ideas? Okay, this is not something informative or educational. This is more like advice and suggestions that I would want to give you, that I went through, and I would want someone to tell me about this before coming here. Be careful with your words. Honestly, think about this. Do not use racial slurs, even in the songs. And I'm not talking just about the N-word, but there are a lot of racial slurs, and explicitly the N-word, do not. In Armenia, there are still people who are using this without understanding what that means, and they're like, oh, this is just their race. It's not. There are other ways to, if you're talking about the race, you can refer them as African Americans or the Black community. It's okay to use that wording, but never the N-word. Even in the songs, there are still a lot of songs that use this word, a lot of books, a lot of articles. Just do not, because you are going to be in a diverse environment and you don't know what the person's experience is with that word. And if you are especially with a Black person, and you are using the N-word, the slur, that's going to hurt them, and you are going to be in a big trouble. So just forget about that. Avoid comments like, oh my God, you're so gay. Be like a man, behave like a lady. There is not such a thing to behave as gay or be like a man or behave like a lady. No toxic masculinity environment, no homophobic environment, and just no sexist environment. Behave like a lady is just a ridiculous comment that still a lot of Armenians use. Same with be like a man. If you are interacting with a male person and they're not in your masculinity stereotypes, it does not mean they're less of a man. That's not how it works. And saying you are so gay, this comes from our homophobic mindset. Just do not. Do not use ableist slurs. This was something that I needed to educate myself, and this happened 3 months ago because I just did not know about this. Ableist slurs are the disability metaphors that are used to offend someone. So avoid terms like lame. Lame is the same as someone who has troubles with walking. So if you're using the word lame as for example, lame excuse, or oh my God, you're so lame, that it might have a different meaning, but if you just do not want to use this as an offense, because in this way you're saying that if someone has a disability, they are less of an individual than we are. Do not use as dumb the R word, especially the R word. This was something that I've heard a lot of people use, and a lot of people and they would be called out. So just do not use this as well, because this is a mental disability that you do not want to offend someone with this. The same with blind, deaf. The way that I was able to get used to this was what someone told me. They were like, if you were near a deaf person, would you use deaf as a joke or as a offense? You would not. So just do not use it at all. So this was something that helped me to get used to this. And consent, permission, I'm going to talk about this when I'm talking about sexual misconduct, but before asking a question or before making a comment, just understand what their ideas are or their mindset is about a certain topic. And be direct. It's a very self-explanatory comment, so just be direct and ask whatever you're going to talk about. Questions, comments? Oops. Again, going on with careful with the wording. Body shaming. This is a huge part of our Armenian culture that I don't know if we are going to get rid of this or not sometime soon, but this is not a thing you're going to use in America. Do not comment on someone's body, someone's size, food choice. Do not be like, do not think of, oh, this person is on a bigger side of the spectrum, or like, oh, this person is fat. Do not body shame people, and do not even think of body shaming people. Forget about appearance ideal. There is no such a thing that if a person has a slim waist or if a person is thin, that means only that body type is beautiful. As long as the person is healthy, do not make comments as, oh, you're a little bit fat, do you want to work out? It's their own business. Do not comment on those things. Avoid comments like, oh, you should work out, try eating healthier, try to gain weight, you look anorexic. This also goes to the words that you should not use. You look anorexic. This is actually, this is a disease. It's a disease, and you do not want to use that as a comment to offend someone. You're so short, oh my God, you're too tall. That you do not use the words like this, and the list goes on. And freshman 15, huh? This is something that we would use with our friends, because freshman 15 is going to be a thing. We all went through this. Some people are still going to go through this. So just do not, like, when I came back home, this was something that people were like, oh my God, you gained so much weight. I'm like, I did not come here so that you would make comments like this. Like, just be happy that I'm here and forget about how much weight I gained or lost. So everybody is beautiful. So do not have the idea of, oh, you should advise someone on how they should eat. It's their life, it's their choice. Do not.
Cool. I have a question real quick. So you've been talking a lot about the things that we should be mindful of when we're talking with different groups and with amongst our friends, our professors, like the whole thing. Not only our words, but also our actions. What would you recommend, and in your experience, when you or one of your friends has been on the receiving end of this, how should you react? So, like, these are good recommendations and reminders for us that are going to the U.S. to study. But what if we experience these? What should we do? How should we speak up and make sure that our voice is hidden? And you might be talking about this later, but I just want to, ask now.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I did not think of talking about that, so thank you for the question. A lot of people answer differently to this. Personally, when I'm getting a comment like this, either I make it as a joke to show that I really do not take you seriously when you're making a comment like this. This comes to like body shaming or that type of questions. But when it comes to serious things, just confront them, call out on them. Call out. There is a call out culture in America, and you should not feel bad for calling out someone, even if they're doing it as a joke. Be like, this is so uncool of you. I do not enjoy this joke. This is not something you should have opinion on. So you can do not hesitate to call out or confront, or if you are more comfortable with making it as a joke, do that. Whatever helps you to confront it. Just understand that it's wrong, and you do have the right to show people that it's wrong. Yeah. And thanks. Any more questions?
Can I add something?
Sure.
So Anahit helped me a lot with this particular thing very recently. So I was in a group of people who were like super, super tall, and I'm kind of an average height for Armenian girls, but here I just feel like I'm most of the time the shortest of the group. I'm 5'1", and it is kind of a struggle to get some things from the shelves, especially cereal in the grocery stores. So I was getting comments like, oh my God, you're so short. Oh my God, this fork, and you're like, they used to compare. And I was like, I genuinely felt as they were jokes, and I started to make some self-deprecated jokes as well, because like I felt like they were funny. I was like, oh my God, I can't reach this. Can you come and help me? And they were like, oh my God, yes, but they were laughing, and they took it too far. And I would not suggest to allow it to roll as a joke, to go around as a joke. And Anahit, I talked to Anahit, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do about this? Because these are my friends, and they're American, and I don't know how to refer to it. And Anahit told me how should I approach them and let them know that it was hurting me and be direct about it. Because in the beginning, I made it as a joke, and then later on, I felt hurtful about it. So being direct about it, but being respectful and stating how you feel will really help you, because after that, my friends were like, we didn't mean it. We really think it's really cute and everything else. And even if we don't have the right to comment anything on your body. So that helped me a lot. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I feel like it's sometimes even hard when you are in a new surrounding and someone is making a joke like that, and you do not want to start with calling out on them or like confronting it. You will start making it as a joke. So it does happen. You just like need to be careful, cautious that it should not cross the line to the way that it's hurting you.
Yeah, so I mean, just from that story, like what I heard was the reliance on your community. So your friends, so Ani called Anahit in this particular instance. Thank you for sharing that, Ani. So rely on those friends that you've created in your universities, but also I think this community as well you can tap into. And then there is that culture of speaking up. And as soon as Ani spoke up, they were apologetic. Like sometimes we use the words that we're just used to, and then we don't think of the repercussions that it has on others. And so from this example, you can see that once you spoke up and you fought for yourself, right? You said, no, this makes me feel bad. And you tell someone that, whoa, gosh, I'm so sorry. Like we didn't mean it that way. How can we, let's avoid this now? And just being a direct can help that move forward. So, this is a two-way street with this, being around people that might use the N-word or things like that. Don't hesitate to speak up. You're not always going to be the guilty party. Hopefully you're not, and you try not to be. But when you're around it, because it does happen, I hope that you're empowered enough to say something and at least talk to someone about it. So that's what I hope for your experience. So thank you, and I'll stop now, but I appreciate it.
Thank you. Can I add something else? This is like on the other side, and I just used it. So whenever I'm talking, I'm like, can I add something else? Can I please make a comment, or can I ask a question? Sorry, I apologize all the time before speaking up. And it is not right. This is the way we used to do in Armenia, and I still carry it through here. But I believe that people really value your opinion and really want to hear you speaking up, especially if you're from a different culture and you have different perspective, mindset. So yeah, I would suggest not to use those words, to even start practicing in Armenia, and you'll get much better with it. I still haven't, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I felt that, been there. And I was also gonna say, like, if you make a comment like this, if you are from the guilty side, and if someone calls out on you, do not try to be defensive. If you actually offended someone, do not try to be, oh, I did not have that intention. Good intentions are never enough. You might not have the good intention, and you might not have the intention of offending someone while using the R word or the N word, and you do not know what the person's experience has been with that. So as long as you do not know what the person has been going through, just do not use, in general, do not use comments like this that you know might offend someone, because it is a cultural thing in Armenia that you show that you care about someone. That's why you're body shaming them. But that's here, as it goes back to individualism. Everyone needs to care about their own life, and if you are caring for someone, if you're trying to make a comment, do that in a respectful way and make sure that they actually need your advice or they asked for your advice. Do not assume that people need your opinion. So yeah, that's on that. Culture exchange.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
But for instance, if you say that it's getting bigger or it is in some way threatening, is there a protection that university offers?
Ina, are you going to say something? I cannot hear you. You're muted.
I'm saying that if you say that it is threatening, is there some kind of protection that the university is offering?
Inajan, were you going to say something?
No, I just want to ask to speak a bit louder so that we can hear.
Did you hear
Anahit Melkonyan, because the Anahit also asking the question to our Anahit Grigoryan.
I guess she's asking if university is offering any resources or help in case this happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different offices that can help you with that. For example, in my college, we have the ODI Office of Diversity and Inclusion. So if there is something, you can report your case to them and they will help you figure it out. If it goes down to the line where it's actually like sexual harassment or sexual misconduct, I'm going to talk about it. There is people actually pay attention to that very seriously. So I'm going to talk about it, but you can talk to your advisor, for example, if you are thinking of reporting the case, you can ask for their advice whether you should report, where you should report it or not. And you can also talk to your counselors, as Ara mentioned, because mental health is a big thing. So if you feel like you are affected by it and before reporting or after reporting, you want to just like to share your thoughts, you can go to the counselor as well. But every college has their own policy, and I'm pretty sure every college has a place that you could feel included, and they will help you with this, because this is something that everyone takes seriously. And if you do not speak up, they might never know that they committed a mistake, and they will continue doing that. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, so culture exchange. You are, again, in a very diverse community, and you are gonna come across many different cultures, and be ready to introduce people to your culture. Be ready to talk about your culture, to talk about your history, politics, especially when Armenia is a very small country and people might ask questions like, where is it? Oh, is it? I literally got a comment, is it in Russia? And I was like, I cannot understand how you got there, but no. So be ready to introduce people to the geography, to the culture, to the traditions. People might ask, oh, what's the most different thing that you faced? And as you saw, it's a whole list, and the list goes on. So you need to find that for yourself. What was your biggest culture shock? Because you might come across to the questions like that. Americans are great at yes, I got that. A lot of people were asking me if Armenia is in Africa, and I was like, not even close. So yeah. If possible, take souvenirs with you. I took a lot of magnets, a lot of keychains, and literally all my friends have something from Armenia in their rooms. I even brought some cards, like note cards with Armenian size, with Armenian pictures on it, and I just gave my professors the cards so that they will remember you and they will remember your culture. So take the souvenirs with you, take something that will remind you of home. For example, I have my little flag here. I have my little, this here. And I have a bigger, like a huge flag, which is in the living room with all my other flags of my roommates that are from different countries. If possible, take your traditional clothing. Personally, I did not have our daras, and if you have it, please take it. Honestly, I am even considering ordering one when I get back and just taking it with me, because you might come across to different events, intercultural events, when you need to dress up, you need to show them your culture, and if you're presenting about your culture, it's more appealing if you have your traditional clothing with you. This is something that I still need to work on, because unfortunately in Armenia, it's not a thing that you have your traditional clothing just lying in the corner in your house, because we just do not use our daras anymore. But here, all my friends have their traditional clothing with them, and when there is an intercultural ball coming up, I would want to use my clothing as well. So if you want to think about it, and if you want to, take yours. Be ready to learn about other cultures and traditions, and show your curiosity, forget about stereotypes. Armenia has a lot of stereotypes on different cultures, a lot of opinions on different cultures, and coming here and actually talking to the people, you will understand that they are so wrong. And you need to actually be open to communicate and show your curiosity and ask respectful questions. Do not make comments that we thought, for example, I remember someone making a comment that Indian traditional food smells. Do not go and ask, oh, does your food smell, or does your room smell? That's just a ridiculous question that you are just gonna offend someone. This is something I never thought of until someone asked me. They were like, oh, do their food smell? I'm like, I eat Indian food almost every single day, and no, it does not. So be respectful with your questions, and while showing your curiosity, be ready to learn about other cultures and traditions. You're not here to just introduce people to your culture, or to just talk about and learn about American culture. So this might be the place that you meet the most diverse people. And if you do not use the opportunity to learn about them and to be more open-minded and to just like expand your mindset, you might not have the opportunity at all after that. So be mindful and just use the opportunity to make friends and learn about the culture and traditions. Right.
Can I add something really quick on it? So just in general about like communicating and just adopting into the culture, I sent one website. That website, like you go there, technically you take a survey about you, how do you communicate, how do you do stuff, and then you add countries. You can add either a country where you're in this case, United States, or the countries where your friends are coming from. And then it shows like all these different factors, how direct the communication is there and how direct you communicate, or how independent people are there and how independent you are actually. And then that helped me actually so much while communicating with people, or it helped me to know what to work on myself. And then I realized that there, after the survey, because survey is not like the question itself, but it's more like tricky survey and then some psychological stuff. So and then I realized that I'm not communicating direct, while the US is super direct. So we were on both sides. So I knew that I need to improve this, or how risks are there and all this different stuff. So this helps, this website helped me so much. And until now, I always go there when I meet a new person from a new country with who I'm arguing or something.
I did not know about this website. I am going to use it. Thank you. Any more comments, ideas, questions? Okay. So mental health, homesickness, huge part of your college life, huge part of your everyday life. Just look at Anis and Dara's face, you'll get what I'm trying to say. Homesickness is going to be a part of your college life, and you need to learn how to live with it. Do not try to just ignore it. It's something you need to face, and you need to move on. You might not move on, or you might just like go with it, and you need to learn some techniques for yourself on how to be better at it. These are the stuff that helped me personally, but everyone has their own, and I would love if Ani and Ara could add some things after this. So for me was the biggest part, talk to my family and friends in Armenia. I talk to my parents maybe like 2 times a day, and while it's not a huge thing here, I faced comments like, oh, the last time I talked to my mom was like, what, 3 months ago? I think I should call her. And I was like, the last time I talked to my mom was like 3 hours ago, and I already miss her. So just find your own way to communicate. I do understand that everyone has their different relationships with their family or their friends. So this is something you need to figure out on your own. Take items that will remind you of home. Again, my little flag. I have a big memory book that my best friends made me that I still go through. From time to time, I have my Nemra album, which I still have and listen to. So some stuff that will remind you of home. And decorate, if you are in the States, decorate your room in a way that it will remind you of home. For example, I have my little album with pictures with my friends, and there are a lot of pictures from Education USA. So take something that will remind you of home if you are hopefully able to come to the States. Friends poster. Yes. Always. Not only Friends poster, I have a Friends mug too. A huge Friends fan here, by the way. Make friends with Armenian students of any. In my case, in Ara's case, in Ani's case, no Armenian students at all. If you're lucky to have some Armenian community in your college, make friends with them, but do not just stick with them. You're not here to just communicate with Armenian students. You can do that in Armenia all the time. So just make friends with them so that you can share your own experience with them and find ways that help them. My way of coping without having Armenian students was to make international students. So they are going to go through homesickness, and just talking and sharing your feelings will help you get better at it. Talk to someone, share your culture and feelings. This someone can be anyone, your best friends, your professors, your counselors. Personally, I went to my professors' offices a lot, and I would just go there and rant, and that helped me a lot. And I made very good connections with my professors, and right now I'm even doing a huge research on that, and she just emailed me, oh my God. Talk to someone, yeah, I covered this. If possible, take some Armenian snacks and food. These will be difficult when you are, as Ara mentioned in his quote, you are packing your life in 23 kilogram luggage. You might not be able to take everything you want. Do a little bit of research before coming if you have any type of Armenian community there, or Armenian stores, international stores. I found out that we have a European gourmet in like nearby city, which is run by an Armenian man. And when I found it out, like I literally bought the whole store. And now I have anything you can imagine from Armenia that I don't even like. I literally bought a juice that I hate, but it had an Armenian girl on it and Ararat. So I was like, sure, I'll spend $10 on this juice. So be careful with the money too, because homesickness can make you do weird stuff. That's what oh yeah, I'm return Peace Corps. Yeah. So stress, anxiety, depression, stuff that you might go through, you might not go through, but something that I would want to talk about. Take breaks. Do not overwhelm yourself with work. Academics is going to be a part of your everyday life. It's going to be a lot. It might be a lot more than you would ever expect. Personally, I took some science classes that I did not expect would take so much time and energy. Like personally, I have never been great at chemistry, and I had to take a lot of chemistry courses, and I'm going to take an organic chemistry course next semester. So I need this as well. So just do not overwhelm yourself with work, and have self-care days, hang out with friends. In my friend group, we have this self-care Saturday that whenever we are feeling low, we just like gather with everyone, or like I usually do that with my friend. We just go to shopping. We might not even buy stuff if you do not want to. Just get out of campus and go explore, have fun, and forget about academics for a day. If parties help, go to the parties. If you're in Armenia, find your ways to take a walk, or like have a Netflix day, just like forget about academics for a day or for like a specific time, and just like relax. You will need that. Do not give up your hobbies. This is something that you'll be like, I don't have time for this. Like, I can't do this when I graduate. But if hobbies are something that make you relaxed or make you help with your stress, find time for that. Personally, my way of doing this was to play on the piano, which I became bad at because I was like, I do not have time for this. And then I just forgot how to do that normally because I was like, I'll get back to this. You'll just use your skills, believe me. And try journaling. I still need to get better at this, but as much as I know, Ani is pretty good at journaling. So do you want to talk about it?
I have 7 of them. They are different, and I fill them in as much as possible, and I go through them pretty quickly. I have a planner, a gratitude journal, a daily life journal. What else do I have? Like a bullet journal, some like special note-taking from books journal, and they're pretty great. I spent a lot of money on them, so I better use them. And I have a lot of stationery, so yes, journal, it helps.
Apparently it does. The way that I was doing my journaling was, this might sound ridiculous, but I have my Finsta, and I just rant on my Finsta, and like people sometimes think that I'm like depressed, and they're like, are you okay? And I was like, it was just a moment that I really needed to get it out. So find your own ways to deal with that. And maybe Finsta is not a big thing in Armenia, but here literally everyone has a real Insta and their Finsta. And if you're in their Finsta, you are the special friend group. And use college resources to talk to your professors, advisors, RAs, counselors. I know you have a bucket list for sure. We were talking about the bucket list yesterday. So RAs are the residence assistants of your hall, and they are specialized to help you, to talk to you, and whenever you're feeling low, you can just go talk to them. And depending on the college, just putting it out there, they are mandatory reporters. This is something that they are going to talk about. But for example, if you are going to go and talk about, for example, some sexual harassment experience that you had, be mindful that they are going to report it because they are mandatory reporters. So just, this is something that every college has on their own. In my college, counselors are not mandatory reporters. And if you're going to go talk to them, it's going to be anonymous. So if you're going to go talk about a heavy topic that you would not want to be addressed by the officials, be mindful of who you are talking to, and do not hesitate to ask for help. If you're feeling low, if you're feeling anxious, stressed, depressed, ask for help. This is something that it's not a huge thing in Armenia. I don't remember actually going to a therapist or actually like asking someone. We just like, personally, in my friend group and for myself, we would just feel ashamed to ask for help, and you're like, well, I'm depressed, you want to talk. This is something that in America, everyone does this, and do not hesitate to ask for it. And if you see someone that is going through some stuff, talk to them, and to practice your active listening skills and try to be as transparent, as vulnerable with them as possible. I forgot to ask Ani and Ada how they're dealing with their homesickness. So if you guys want to talk about it, feel free. If not, it's fine.
I guess there's a time, like, at least for my first year, there was a time, probably again January-ish, when I was feeling super homesick. Like, I just want to leave, I just want to go back. But then it's really like challenging to fly all the way back to Armenia just for a couple of days winter break. So I just went, visited my relatives in LA, just being in this Armenian community, talking to them for 5 days, visiting Armenian stores to get Armenian food really helped me. I know it might be challenging for some people. LA was close to me, so I was able to go. But yeah, and also just I wanted to add a quick thing about RAs. A lot of RAs might be your friends, at least some of the, because RAs are technically students. So even though the RA was my friend, sometimes I would talk to them about some specific thing. They would be like, that's my job. I have to report it. I've heard it. I have to report it. So again, just be mindful, even though they're your friends, know how close you are and if you really wanted to go to your school officials.
Okay, so for me, homesickness, Armenian stores did not help. So I was feeling fine until like December when I went for Christmas to LA to some of my very far relatives that I didn't meet personally before. And then I went there and there was so much Armenian stuff and Armenian people that I started to feel homesick by then. The euphoria part of culture faded away. And I was like, I want to go home. And I was expecting to go home, obviously, this summer, but the coronavirus happened. And because of that, I have been feeling very, very homesick during summer. And I was like, I'm not able. I'm going to fly by the next plane that goes back to Armenia. I'm not going to able to handle this. But it gets better when you don't concentrate it and focus on other things. Like, I wasn't busy this summer at all. I couldn't find a job. I didn't do anything like very specific. So my focus went to homesickness and my family, and I started to talk to them a lot and miss them a lot. So I would suggest to keep busy, and you'll be happier that way.
Yeah, this summer just messed up with all our plans to go back home. So yeah, just be ready for whatever, honestly. No, who would have thought that we would be stuck on campus? Yeah, keep yourself busy. Yeah. This is something that everyone needs to figure out for themselves. And these were something that helped specifically the three of us. So it might be different for you, but these were stuff that might help you. So, academics. A huge part of your everyday life, a huge part of your week, literally 24/7, you're gonna study. Find your perfect study place. If you are in America, if you are on campus, try the library, try the coffee shops, study rooms, anything. For me personally, I wasn't able to concentrate in my dorm room because I didn't want my rest place to be associated with my study place. So that's why I was always in the library. And now after the virus, library got closed, coffee shops, everything got closed, and I was stuck in my room. So if you are not able to come to the States and you are in your room, sorry, make your room a pleasant place for you to study. And even if you are able to go to another room and to just like find your perfect study room in your house or in a nearby park or whatever, try that, because having a perfect place to study is gonna be a big deal. And you wouldn't want an additional stress that, oh, I don't like this space, with the stress that comes with academics. Time management. Couldn't stress enough, keep a planner. Virtual, hard copy, calendar, whatever works. I tried hard copy, didn't work for me. Now my planner, here we go. Yeah, Anis, of course, she has maybe like 10 planners. Wow. Mine is virtual because I do not want to carry that whole book with me every time, and I want my phone to send me notifications when it's time for a meeting. The thing that I would oops, oh, wow, Inogen, I just got your thing. 5 minutes max. Okay, I'll I'll wrap it up. Try to study with your friends, with your study group, make friends in your group, whether online or in person, and make friends in your classes. You do not know what you would face in your class, and you would want to have someone that is in that class to talk about it. Try tutoring, talk to your professors, office hours. Ada covered this, so just use your resources wisely. Sexual misconduct. I'll try to wrap this up in 5 minutes as much as possible. Sexual misconduct is any forms of sexual harassment, different treatments based on sex, and gender-based harassment. This is something that is a very heavy and serious topic, and you are going to have a training before you go, before you start your classes. You're going to have training on sexual misconduct on Title IX. No means no. Maybe, I don't know, maybe later. Everything is no. It's not in Armenia that if someone says no, they're just ashamed and they're waiting for you to convince them. People here are direct. If it's a no, it's a no. Yes, only yes is a yes. Sexual harassment is not just rape. It's stalking, unpleasant touching, leaning over, catcalling, anything. Catcalling is also a big part of Armenian culture, and I did not view that as sexual harassment until I actually educated myself on it. This is something that cannot be covered even in an hour, so I would suggest looking through it by yourself. Title IX office. Title IX office is in every college, and this is a place you would report any type of sexual misconduct case, and this is a place that you could talk to when there is something going on. Learn about how to report a case. Every single college has their own policy. Learn about who is a mandatory reporter, who is not. Again, RAs, professors, advisors. Educate yourself about the importance of personal boundaries and consent. Consent, whatever you're doing, even when you're touching their shoulder, ask for their consent. They might not feel comfortable. It might not be their cultural aspect to be touchy with friends or with their partners. So be mindful before anything physical, and learn more about your college's policy on sexual misconduct. The whole idea of Title IX is a place where people will be safe to report their cases, whether it's a sexual violence, whether it's domestic violence, anything. And this applies if it's your boyfriend or a girlfriend, whatever you did not feel comfortable or you did not have give the consent for that, it can be considered sexual harassment. And do not be afraid to speak up. It's not a thing that if you speak up, people will be like, oh, like you called for it. Forget about that mindset that they were asking for it. The survivors are never the guilty part. So be mindful and educate yourself about that. And how should I apply for that? How should I adapt in the States? Learn about the culture before arriving to the States. For example, me and Dani are in the South. The South culture, the Southern culture are very different from what I experienced because every state has their own culture. So think about it before going. Make friends, domestic and international. Again, make your room a place that will give you a sense of comfort. For example, I decorated my room with some posters that I like and some things that will remind me of home. And use your opportunities wisely. Explore and travel. Traveling will be a huge thing. You can just like drive to the next state if you have friends with cars or if you're able to rent a car. So just use colleges give you an ocean of opportunities. Just use them wisely and just have fun. So you came here to study and explore and have fun. So just do not focus on your just academics. Academics is going to be a huge part, but try to branch out as much as possible.